Welcome back to another issue. Episode.
Issue.
I
We
have
have
issues.
issues, not issue.
Welcome back to another episode of Repressed Humor Issues. I'm Donut McFucksticky, or Ryan.
And I'm Chocolate Rain, or Dan.
Just don't understand the chocolate rain bit. Oh, the YouTube.
Okay, well, I'm actually going a totally different direction with that because if you remember, we went for ramen while we were in Chicago with our boss, and all I can say is that came out of me like a tropical monsoon. I mean, there was thunder. I'm pretty sure I wiped out 4 villages. It was just, I'm officially a deity now based off of the damage that came out of me out of the weather system I created out of my rear end.
You didn't even have ramen.
Well, I had ramen like stuff. I'm pretty sure that Wagyu beef thing that I had, all that ginger that was on top of it, that just caused me issues.
And
It
that's supposed
still
to
was
settle
worth
your stomach.
it still was worth it. It was still tasted really good. It just came flying out of me.
Before we go into more anal excretion chit
Anal
chat,
excretions. That just reminded me. What was the dog in the elevator episode? Aggressive something something.
of what?
Remember the episode we did where you were talking about the dog
Oh,
that came into the elevator that
yeah. What the fuck was that?
I think it was called aggressive anal excretions or something like that.
Something like that. It was off season one. Yeah.
Yep. So,
Uh,
anyways, Ryan, you were going to say.
yeah, I just wanted to give everyone a heads up and ask for feedback yet again. So we're trying out a new podcasting software today, and we've just had some issues here and there with the other. We're not going to name names, but so we're curious to see if this sounds better, feels better. So please let us know at repressedhumorissues@gmail.com. If you like it, if you hate it, indifferent. We'll take any feedback, honestly. If you want to send us a picture of a giraffe with a bra on, you can do that too. Um,
So realized that I didn't realize it was fetish hour because apparently Ryan is into busty giraffes. Like,
Look, I don't know who isn't, to be fair. I mean,
yeah,
every time I go to the zoo, I seek out the busty giraffes.
yes, the gilf giraffes. Yes.
Oh, yeah. That was quick.
Yep. Yep. I got there. I got there. So, anyways,
Uh,
we are testing out, and one of the things we've
yeah,
been trying to do is find the right system that the audio doesn't drift from the video,
yep.
just in between ourselves. So, we're testing this one out. If it works, we're going to try doing video in it as well. Just realized the last time we did this, we had to remove the video because it drifted so badly it didn't make sense anymore. So we're
Yeah.
not going to promise video, but we're going to try video again in a later episode. We'll just make it so that the audio isn't dependent on the video.
So I have a few things. So
Well,
arriving
we're
back.
getting away from chocolate rain first. I was like the Golden Corral chocolate fountain, like literally.
I was happy to move past it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some digestive issues like that before, but when it comes out that violently, I
Yeah,
mean, there's
but
just
I don't know
you're
why we're back at this. Why are we talking
because you
about
didn't
this?
let me finish. You wanted to
Yeah,
talk about other
well,
stuff.
yeah, the ramen let you finish a couple days ago. Um,
You don't know. I could be sitting here on a bowl right now.
oh, fuck. No, no, you're not.
You have to label that bowl really well. That's
Oh,
the shit bowl.
oh,
You
this reminds me of something disgusting. I saw like a video meme of a guy. It was called the Infinite Loop, and he's like sustenance for the rest of your life. And he takes a can of corn, dumps it into a bowl, eats it, then he shits it out, strains it, and eats it again.
Yeah, he doesn't eat the same corn. No way. I'm not eating that corn. Just no way.
No, I was just like, "What is wrong?" I think that was my Instagram feed. I was like, How is this allowed on Instagram?"
What I so there was a TikTok video, I didn't send it to you, but now I wish I had of weightlifters that shit themselves mid-lift.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
fan oh, that's when
And
you know you've gone too far.
and you just you see them start to lift and they have that uh-oh moment and you know what's happening. And sometimes all you see is just a bulge in the back of the pants, and sometimes you just see it squeeze down their leg.
Like, I can safely say that's never happened to me while weightlifting, thankfully. I can see how it could happen, especially with all the supplements that are out there. Some of those things fuck your system up,
Yeah.
and it
And
might
you're
be
also
true.
pushing every single muscle to its max at that point, and some of those muscles you lose control of.
Ugh,
Because that peristalsis down through that sphincter's set, um, when you start lifting with your stomach, you're putting a lot of pressure downwards.
gets a whole new terminology to analese.
Yeah.
Um, but
But
yeah,
then that same video just had people that were lying on their side that thought they could just fart, and what came out was way more than a fart. So,
yeah, my TikTok feed has been chaotic lately. I don't know what's happening, but
is it
it's
because
like
of the stuff I'm sending you?
that. Oh, it's between you and my sister. Like you all are tit for tat sending me batshit weird things.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you win, and then sometimes she's like, I don't even know where she finds the stuff she finds. My
Well,
brother sends some funny, weird, twisted shit. I should send you the SpongeBob SquarePants thing that he sent me. Oh, good God.
all I know is my wife and I watch a lot of TikTok when we go to bed, and the last one that I watched that I had to show her, I couldn't just forward it to her. I had to show her in the moment. Was a turtle on a skateboard scooting up to a cat, and the cat just had no idea how to process that. It's just looking at the odor like, "What the fuck are you doing to me, dude?"
That's awesome. That's great.
I mean, yeah, it's that kind of stuff. I'm on Mechanics Talk, TE videos, free punch out to him. He does some amazing stuff. He just shows every single repair he does on every single vehicle, I'm pretty sure. And he's funny with, gotcha bud and all of the things that he does. It's just really good videos. But then I'm on the weird stuff like the LGBT people that were in costume on a bike, waving a Taylor Swift flag, riding a bicycle down the road. I mean, there's just no way to plan how you're going to get that in your feed.
Yeah, it's like I get like a bunch of like cat clips and dog clips, of course. That's like seems to be the consistent thing. But I've started getting the guy that debunks all the religious stuff with facts.
Uh,
Uh, I can't remember his name. You turned me on to him a
oh,
while
Dan
ago.
McClellan.
Yeah, yeah, he's been
Yeah.
popping up in my feed like crazy lately.
Yeah,
But then,
yeah, he's gotten into some internet fights recently, which have been interesting. Basically, people trying to say that he's not correct and he's being too literal and that sort of stuff. And he is an absolutist.
yeah,
Okay,
but he
but he
also
also
posts
seems,
like all his sources. It's not like he hides away from anything.
yeah. But I uh, watched a TikTok of somebody that was critiquing, not criticizing, critiquing Dan McClellan. And what I found out is basically everything that he's arguing about is all what they take in first year theology.
Oh,
Okay, when you get a theology degree, that's all first year stuff. This is just known stuff. He's not even going deep. Now, he's also a linguist, so a lot of what he's doing is bringing in that linguist stuff to it, but he's not going deep into the theology. He's just going deep into the linguist part of it. And because he's an absolutist, he doesn't believe that there's one univocal voice that comes out of the Bible. He'll fight anybody that tries to go to univocality and that sort of stuff. And I mean, he has an ego on him. Let's just face it. He has an ego.
sure, but I do enjoy his content because it's at least I guess shows how you can't take things like the Bible at surface level.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But
um,
just so you're aware, he used to be part of the Latter-day Saints and
yeah,
left
yeah, right.
because of his videos. He wanted to do his videos full time, and obviously they were pushing back because of his lack of desire to show that univocality.
Yeah, he had one video or maybe a couple on the exit, if I recall.
Yeah, and then that took me down a whole rabbit hole about um the Mormon church and how they were deceived into buying fake documents that apparently were all about Justin Smith. And there's actually a series of
Joseph Smith.
papers, Joseph
Joseph.
Smith, sorry, yeah. And there's these things called the McClellan Papers, which were written in the 1870s, 1880s by somebody that later left the church. That they bought these writings from this guy that was faking it all, paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I mean, you could just spiral out of control on this stuff if you want to.
I
Speaking of spiraling out of control, I had this problem with ramen the other day that
oh my god, we're not going back to that. So
okay, well then let's
I
talk about how you said it was 3 blocks to get donuts and it was 9 each way.
yeah, but no one asked me what blocks.
Oh, so we were skipping counting certain blocks along the way.
I,
Were those the ones with the red lights?
if you wanted me to talk about Chicago blocks, 9. If you wanted me to talk about Central Kansas blocks, 3.
Okay, but here's the problem. You didn't specify at all. I have it on recording. It is in the last episode that you said there was 3 blocks to get there, and it definitely was not.
But again, no one asked me to qualify what blocks I was talking about.
But seeing as our location was Chicago, I would assume you would tell me in Chicago blocks.
But
Because yes,
how
Chicago blocks are different, but that's
yeah,
still 3 times as many blocks as you promised.
but how great was the donut?
See, that's the other thing. I only got 1. You guys got 2 because we had to have
That
one
was
for our boss too.
that was your choice. We could have gotten more.
No, we got a half dozen. You can only put 6 in a half dozen.
That they will give you one more. It's
Eh,
okay. Let's put it in a little bag.
nah. I think it's unfair. And it's also interesting that we thought it was Stan Makita's donuts. It's Stan's donuts, which
You thought it was
probably
Stan Makita. I didn't think it was Stan Makita.
yeah, well, you didn't even know who Stan Makita was.
Admittedly, I did not. I don't follow any hockey beyond Wayne Gretzky, and that's okay.
But I found out that from this that in Wayne's World there was no Stan Makita's donuts. It actually became a thing after the movie. They faked all that.
Oh, okay.
So I was expecting we were going to go to a place that had a giant figure of a guy with a hockey stick on top of it, and no, that was a little slot inside of a food court that was barely open at that point.
Yeah, that food hall looked rough, but I mean
Yeah.
that's because that used to be hopping.
Yeah, that was my first time there, so I can't talk about that, but I can tell you we were lonely in there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that was like the only place that happened to be open, I think. Um,
And you were so desperate for a donut, you were willing to do anything. Like
I mean,
walk 9 fucking blocks each way.
we could have gone to the lesser donut place inside the Sears Tower, but it's lesser. And I'm not gonna go to a fucking Dunkin' Donuts. Like,
Okay, but we didn't compare, so I can't tell you whether I would have preferred the ones in Sears Tower, and if it was that close. We stayed next to it, like,
but
literally next to it, and you never said, "So I want a donut, we could go get one right now." No, you said, "Let's wait until the last day and then walk 3 blocks," which, I now have to multiply any promises you make by 3
look,
each
I
way. You realize that's 6 blocks, the back and forth versus 18.
I don't understand why you're so upset with walking, A, and B,
Because
I have
I had
self-control with
I
donuts.
I had 2 laptops on my back, and each of those laptops weighs about 8 pounds apiece. So I
Whose
had
fault is
16
that?
pounds worth of laptop on my back, plus everything else. Plus, I don't know if you know this, but I'm old.
You're not that old.
I'm old enough.
Not old enough to use that excuse.
Oh, I'll use that excuse more than you have a clue.
And we think about this. It's hockey conditioning. We're doing you
No, because I
favors.
had a donut at the end. If it was hockey conditioning, I wouldn't have the donut at the end. I would
Yeah,
have a drink of water and maybe a protein shake.
that was the reward.
That was the reward. I don't need a reward to get in hockey shape. Getting in hockey shape itself would be a reward. I came home and weighed 4 pounds more than
You
when I
had one
left.
donut. There's no way. I
I
can't
had
help
1
that you had
donut.
like Shake Shack every day.
I had 1 donut. I had Shake Shack. We had ramen. I had at
I had
least
ramen.
3 cans of Pringles. I drank more soda there in those 3 days than I normally drink in a week.
Your
Um,
lack of self-restraint is not my fault.
there's nothing else there for me to drink. We drank all the apple juice. I don't drink pulpy orange juice. That's the most disgusting thing on the planet.
Oh, I love pulp in mine.
No, that's my texture issues. That's just like there's little squirmies floating around my mouth while I'm trying to drink. Now, I realize where your mind just went on that, and that's probably the difference between you and me.
Because it sounded like you did not say squirmies.
I said squirmies, but it could be taken as something else.
Spermies.
Yes. Yes,
Ah.
that dawned on me as I was saying it, but I was too into it to bail on that joke. I couldn't get there.
Oh. So it really did suck coming back from Chicago because I was delayed coming out of I had to connect in Minneapolis because all the directs were sold out. And I was delayed. We just sat there for like an extra 45 minutes, not moving, no explanation. And so when I get back to DC, I was too late to get the metro, so I had to take a lift. And I get back, and I all of a sudden I have this flood of text messages that come through, and I'm like, "Good God, what the fuck?" And I have this text group with a bunch of friends, and DC, the entire DC Metro and Northern Virginia are under a boil water notice for like due to too much algae or plankton or I don't know, some
Yeah, they
shit.
said there was an algae bloom.
Yeah, there we go. And so then I'm already exhausted. I have to work the next day. No, I don't. 4th of July.
Wow, trying there's a pity party in
I
that.
forgot.
Oh,
But
I had to work the next day. No, you did not.
but I had to stay up until 1 in the morning boiling water so my dog could have water to drink for the night because the dog sitter had thrown out his previous bowl for as a precaution.
You
But then
realize you could have just bought some bottled water, right?
where? Everything is closed.
You guys don't have 7-Eleven there?
We do, but they kept it closed here because there's too much crime.
Ah, okay. So what happened was you decided to live in Crimeville, USA, and then
Uh,
are complaining because you have to deal with the consequences of living in Crimeville, USA.
I moved here not knowing it was gonna be Crimeville, USA, to be honest, but
Well, so who stormed the building across from your building while we were talking on the phone the other day?
oh,
Yes.
no, that wasn't my building, that was the subway or the metro,
Yeah. And
but
who stormed it?
the ATF.
Yes. And then what did you hear shortly after that?
The loud boom.
Yes. So when you think about this, okay, you've had all of the warnings you're going to get. What
But I'm
happened? What happened before you left? Okay, didn't they have SWAT storm another apartment building very close to you? Or
oh,
there's
what
gunshots and
yeah, it was gunshots, it wasn't SWAT, it was actually in front of my building, they closed down the street because of 5 errant bullets that rang out. I don't know what direction they were shot at or at who, but the shell casings were immediately in front of my building.
So, do you know how many people have shot off guns in front of my house that I know of? Do you know
You
how many shell casings I've found out even in our cul-de-sac where I live?
Yeah, probably 0.
0, exactly.
But you live in Nowhereville, Minnesota.
Yeah, and I
I
live in Nowhereville, not going to get shot, Minnesota.
Yeah, it is a risk here,
Yeah.
more than I care to admit.
Yeah. Speaking of not wanting to admit things, I got to tell you, I do have to thank you. We happened to be flying the same airline when we were leaving Chicago. My flight was later. I couldn't get on your connector because it was like an extra 250 to 300 bucks.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't worth it. But you got me into Delta Club.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And Delta Club is something special because I had probably about 4.5 hours that I was in the Chicago O'Hare Airport. Um, that I ate more pieces of cheesecake. I drank more soda. That's where that 4 pounds came from. I have to thank you for getting me in there because that's a magical place. I've spent 4 hours in an airport before. I've never thought I could live here as much as I did when I was in Delta Club.
Yeah, as you pointed out, they even have showers there.
Yeah, they have little meeting rooms where you're isolated so your sound doesn't go anywhere. I mean, you can literally go in those meeting rooms. One of them has a table in it. Like it's just a little room. It's not like it's like
A
a
conference room or
sauna.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just a
okay.
sauna with a door on it, sort of size. But there's one that has a table on it and a fucking projector. I mean, you could hold a business meeting there.
What the hell? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it's all the way over at the far side in O'Hare. So
That's a huge, Sky Club.
yeah, I have to admit, I expected I was gonna go in there and there's gonna be like 3 different things to eat and a bunch of old people, and there were a lot of people there, there's a lot of food there. I walked the entire thing because I did have a lot of time. I may have fallen asleep. I I don't know what else I did there. I enjoyed my 4 hours in Delta Club.
Oh, you're welcome.
Then I went
Uh
out with the rest of the peons out into the gate.
I mean, like I told you when we got in there, it's bougie, I realize that, but it's definitely changed the way I travel, and when I don't have a lounge available to me because the airport's too small or something like that, I I I just try to get as close to departure time as possible before I arrive so I can just avoid the airport.
Yeah. See, I my OCD doesn't let me come late to an airport. Like on time is late to me. So I've spent a lot of time walking in airports and I've seen nothing as pretty as Delta Club. Just that's really the only way I could describe it is it was like, "Oh,"
Well,
when you
a
walk through. I
and
mean,
I
I'm
just
surprised the doors when I was walking in didn't say, "Thank you for coming, Dan," and
well,
then
they have
hand me
people
a
they have
cigarette when I was on my way out.
They have people to do that. Now, did you notice the signature Delta fragrance when you walk in as well?
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
so when you walk in, next time you go, there's an actual it's kinda like walking into an Abercrombie& and Fitch, if you remember that, when they had that special fragrance kind of, but it's
I have
Delta's
never
signature.
been in an Abercrombie& and Fitch,
Oh,
just so you're aware,
I used to go all the time when they had the live models standing there. It was amazing. Um,
but I don't know what that smell is. I just
Yeah,
don't know what that
yeah.
smell.
It's intoxicating in the best way. Now, the one thing I will say I just learned, I love the lounge, like, learning about them and stuff like that. Like, Capital One has one, Chase has one now, but Delta, much like I think United does this for first class passengers, they opened at JFK, a first class only lounge that has, like, multiple course meal, you can get a full massage, it's all part of it. Like
Do you have to get on a plane that used to be owned by Epstein to get in there, or
I don't think you flew Delta, to be fair.
I'm just I'm just wondering because it sounds like they're getting close to that how do we put this gently? Rapey situation there.
Well, it's not like it's the adult massaging the adult willingly.
Yes, I'm just saying they're getting closer to here's the Taiwanese boy that you wanted.
I don't know how you make that leap from here's a first class lounge for paying patrons to get a massage in JFK.
I'm just saying there's Trump already murdered Epstein to cover up the fact that he was on his plane. Now everybody that was in that first class thing in JFK has to start worrying because
I
there's cameras everywhere and Trump's going to murder you all. I
I
mean,
I want to go to the first class lounge. That's where I'm at. And
you want that Taiwanese boy? Is that
I
what you're
don't want the
saying?
Thai. No, I don't want that. That's what you're saying. I don't want that. I want the Delta experience, not the Taiwanese Epstein experience.
So here's the thing: Capital One says they have those lounges in a whole ton of
Yeah.
airports. Yet I've never seen one. I have a Capital One card. I have a Chase card. I've never seen one of their lounges.
Yeah, so I know Dulles has, I think, the newest Capital One lounge, and it's very nice. I was shocked by it. Like, you can, of course, walk by it and see enough to see like what you're missing out on. So they tease you to like, ooh, maybe I should go get that card so I can actually get there. But I don't have any of that, and I've not seen the Chase Sapphire lounges, but I know they exist.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
then I also do the Amex Centurion Lounge, which those are nice. Like they're getting ready to open one at DCA or National. I'm not going to call it
Yeah,
Ronald Reagan because no. Um,
because Reaganism. Yes.
yes, yes. Not going to give them that the credence. They should rename that fucking airport.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
No, you know
Uh,
it's on the local docket. I think this year to rename Dulles Airport Donald Trump International Airport.
yeah, it'll never get done. They
No.
should only name prisons after him. That would be more appropriate. Yes, I'm
Yeah,
taking a political side. People get used to it. I
yeah, and
mean,
it's gonna be, an unhinged year. I meme
well, have you read anything on Project 2025?
yes, I fell into a rabbit hole. I was up till 1 AM rabbit holing on that.
Okay, so you know about Schedule F.
Yes, and I watched who is the guy that was just interviewed by the select committee about Project 2025?
I don't know. I didn't see that one, but I saw John Oliver do a thing on it,
Oh,
and
I didn't see John Oliver's.
he dissected it. And basically, what he says is there's a bunch of BS throughout Project 2025. Okay, it talks about getting rid of the Department of Education,
Yeah,
and a stupider populace is more likely to fall in line with authoritarian views and all that sort of stuff. But Schedule F is the biggest problem within Project 2025. If you don't know about it, you should go look up. Just type into Google John Oliver
the
Project 2025.
this is the one where he can eliminate 50,000 civil servants and replace them with people that align with his MAGA ideology, right?
Yes, basically, if you don't pledge allegiance to the nominee, let's just say it's Trump right now, but in 5 years in 4 years it'll be somebody else. Um, then you can be fired from your supposedly nonpartisan government job and replaced with a partisan, and they will the it is the dismantling of the way that democracy is supposed to work because most of these jobs are not appointee jobs.
Right.
They're the people that actually get things done in government, and Project 2025 is basically designing it such that these will become politically appointed positions, so they will become partisan, and that's a huge issue.
That's a lot of people too.
Yes. But that means the entire federal government is now working against you because we know the way the GOP works. And I'll get off the political soapbox after this, but the GOP makes a lot of promises, but generally only does stuff that benefits themselves.
Oh yeah.
And the Democrats, unfortunately, spend way too much money. I'm not aligned with the way that we spend money in this country. But a lot of it is because they're fixing the problems that the conservatives, the Republicans, generate when they're in control of government.
Yes.
So something's got to give here. But Project 2025 is not the solution to it. It's so anti-constitutional. It's not even funny.
Well, and it goes so much deeper than even the MAGA hirings and firings and all that kind of stuff. I mean, access to reproductive rights, LGBT, uh, uh, civil rights,
Social
uh,
Security,
Social
Medicare,
Security. Yeah.
all
I
that.
mean, now there's things in there that I agree they need to be addressed, but they're not addressing them appropriately.
Well, what they're doing is they're taking it to a religious extreme. Some people
Yeah.
call them Christo-fascists. I call them Christosexuals because they really just want to leg hump whoever is in charge of the Republican Party, and that right now is Donald Trump. And the scariest thing is if they don't get rid of the constitutional restriction that says you can only do 8 total years as president, we could end up with Don Jr., the cocaine cowboy,
We'll be
being
in Xi we'll
the
be
next.
like Xi Jinping territory,
Yeah.
basically, or
So,
Putin. I mean, it becomes a dictatorship.
yeah. So let's get off of this topic because we're trying to stay out of
Yeah,
politics as much as
let
possible,
let
even
me
though
tell
we've
you
done it
the
twice in the last 2 episodes.
I think there's just a lot going on right now, so it's hard to avoid, but I will tell you my other rabbit hole that I fell into last night. Uh, so I'm going to, this
Just
week
so
go
I'm aware, was there a Taiwanese boy at the end of this rabbit hole?
No! No, there was tropical rainstorms. No, so I'm going to Croatia, and I've never been. Um, and it's first vacation without like I'm not counting going to people's weddings or birthdays or funerals or that kind of thing, or like one just for my husband and I. I don't know anything about Croatia. I know where it's at on a map. I could point that out, but I don't more specifically know anything about the Adriatic Sea, which is where we'll be the majority of the time. So I, of course, don't start with what's the water temperature? How clear is it? Of course, I Google shark attacks.
Yes, because I have just heard about thousands of shark attacks in the Mediterranean. I mean,
And
it's just
there's
it's an
not.
epidemic.
I think the last one was in 2008. So and then before that, I think 1974. So it rarely happens, but
Oh,
my
no, no, no. You see, you looked up the wrong things. There's multiple types of shark attacks, and in the Mediterranean, what you generally have is small children running around going, "Baby shark, do 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 do." Yes, I went there. Shark attack.
you're fucking stupid.
But what you're supposed to do if there's a shark attack is stay on the boat because getting electrocuted by the battery is better than getting eaten by the shark.
I knew you were gonna go there. God.
How do you
That
set me up like that?
but, so, I did learn that in the Adriatic Sea, there's 47 different species of sharks that can be in there, including great whites. But typically, the way they behave in the Adriatic specifically is that they're afraid of humans because there's plenty of, natural prey, predator, prey, for them to feast on, so that they don't need to seek out human legs or anything like that. So I think I'm safe. Think I'm
So,
safe.
what I would ask is if you do start getting attacked by a shark while you're on the boat, um, take video of it so that I can post it on the website so everybody can see exactly how scared you get when the orca comes to take out your yacht.
But that's not a shark.
It's a whale, I know, but it's a killer whale.
Derp.
So we do have to talk. I realize we're over halfway through the show, but our schedule for the next couple of weeks is going to be a little bit fluid based off of Donut McFucksticky deciding that he's going to go on vacation in a country that he's not going to be able to record. So we are going to go on a little bit of a hiatus. We're trying to pre-record a couple of things, but be aware that over the month of July, I'll be sitting here working diligently, doing everything that I can, and Mr. I got fat on donuts, so a shark finds me delicious will be swimming in the Adriatic.
I am not gonna be gone that long.
I'm just saying. I mean, you leave next week. Well, technically, it's almost this week,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you don't come back until it's almost August.
It I come back on the 23rd.
That's almost August.
We'll be fine.
The other thing we got to talk about is so celebrity squirt games. We said we'd record, we're going to do them as minisodes. Just realize AI isn't being as funny as we want it to be.
No.
So we promised we were going to do a Squid Games before we did the next episode. You're probably going to hear this before we get Squid Games done. We're going to record that tomorrow. Sorry, Squirt Games. But just be aware we're having to do more of it manually than we thought we were going to have to do, just based off of the fact that AI doesn't want to cooperate and kill people.
And I thought I did good with that one yesterday, but the jokes were so lame. I mean,
Yeah, and
it did kill people, but it wasn't the best.
it was one little line per person with just an obvious joke about them. That was the majority of it. You might have thought that there was some redeeming value. I saw very little redeeming value.
No, 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 I didn't think there was. I mean, I was have the only saving grace was I found an AI that could kill people, but
Yeah.
it still didn't do it well.
Yeah. So we're still working through that, but realize we've promised AI doing this. It might be us doing this, just so you're aware.
But I think we can still largely use AI and take the lead up to when the person is eliminated in most of the AI models and then embellish on that.
This isn't TikTok. We could say the word die and kill and murdered here, and
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not gonna
what's
be
the thing that they make them say on TikTok now?
unalive.
Unalived, yeah, that's right, that's right. It's just, I mean, fine, whatever. Uh,
Okay.
but
So I want to talk about something. So what we did was we've stopped coming up with plans on how to get in and out of episodes. You'll notice we don't sit on topics for the entire episode. So we have a topic list just in case we start to find that we're uh, starting to get a little bit boring or we beat something to death. I wasn't. The reason that I'm interrupting him is I'm looking at Ryan's list, and he has on his list, "Is all water equal?" And
yes,
I just, what the fuck, dude? Is all water equal?
the
Where
answer's
are you going
no.
with this?
The answer's no. So this God, and I'm drinking one of them right now. So this
So you're
started
talking
with
bottled water, not just water in general.
well, water in general, yeah.
Yeah.
It all comes from natural sources. So, but okay, if I'm thinking about, let's use three examples. And I this started with a Zac Efron docu series that he did. I can't remember the name of it because I'm so prepared, but it opened my eyes to what water can be. Um, and
Tell us, Ryan, what
there's a
can
gen-
water be besides water,
there's
ice,
a
and steam?
there's a gentleman by the name of Martin Rees. He's a German water sommelier based in Los Angeles. I know that sounds insane. Um,
A
who does
white people privilege just flowing like crazy out of that statement.
not refuting how bougie and pretentious this all sounds. I still drink water from the tap, still drink water from the fridge. No, no, I'm not that bougie. Like water is still water to me. If I'm thirsty, I'm going to get a drink. But will do these water tastings of all these different varying waters, different sources, sparkling still. Some of them are wells, some of them are, creeks, glacier, whatever it might be. And there's something called total dissolved solids that's typically on the back of a lot of these water bottles.
TDS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TDS. To show what it is. The lower it is, the more like tap water municipal source tasting it is, and the higher actually has a heaviness to it, sometimes a salinity to it. So like there's one that you can go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's and get called Gerolsteiner, and it's very high in TDS. It's a very heavy tasting water, but it's got all these natural electrolytes that when you drink it, it's actually better than like a Gatorade at rehydrating you and replenishing those natural minerals than any Gatorade can do, and it does it without the sugar. So, is every water equal? Let's think about three different sources. So, let's say Dasani, which is pretty well known. We'll say your sink faucet, and we'll use the one I'm drinking, which is purely Sedona, which comes from Oak Creek Canyon in Sedona, Arizona.
Okay.
So,
So realize I'm just sitting back here thinking, what the hell are we gonna do to make this funny? Because
you can
you
make
are
I'm
you're
very
in the
past that.
middle of this diatribe about water.
I love it. I love it. My husband thinks it's probably a little silly, but I've made him lean my direction a little bit.
And yet
Be
you didn't even know what a backflow preventer was when we were talking yesterday about your fridge acting up and you not being able to get water out of it.
Look, I find interest in certain things, definitely not everything. So
So
backflow
realize he's freaking out yesterday because there's this noise in the wall behind his refrigerator,
that
and
was bad.
you thought at first that your refrigerator was dying. And when I said, "Is it still cold inside?" you said, "Yes." I knew it wasn't compressor. Then you said, "It sounds like it's in the wall behind." Air just got into the line. That's all that really happened.
Yeah.
And the backflow preventer wasn't working, so obviously it let the line drain back into the municipal system, which is not supposed to happen, just so you're aware. I'm totally distracting in any way I can from our listeners having to listen to you critique water types.
I was
But
just I was going
go
through the
ahead.
examples and I was gonna walk off. Um
You got a
so
what off?
whack off.
Yeah,
That's
in your water. I got it. You
that's
like
later.
those little squirmies floating around in your water.
Protein deposits. Don't want to waste it. Um, now you totally distracted me. Actually,
All I
blessing a
can
little
think
bit
of
too.
is if if the GOP is willing to regulate women's bodies so much because they say that all essentially all the way back to the egg is sacred in a woman, don't they have to stop masturbating? Because isn't every sperm sacred then as well? And anybody who gets the Monty Python
I
joke.
mean, technically, if they want to like go biblical with it, yeah, they're wasting, they're spilling seed and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. So
they're,
I think honestly, the Democrats are the party that allows you to masturbate. The GOP is a party that's restricting that. They're
oh my
trying to take
God.
away your porn.
Could you imagine if they banned masturbation?
Oh, they'd have to have the masturbation police.
Oh my God, that'd be the messiest job ever.
Well, think
Um,
about this. There's already countries in Europe that are trying to set up what they're calling porn passports, which to get onto a
what?
porn site, you have to have registered to be able to say you're of age. It's meant to keep people that are not of age from getting on, like, every 16-year-old boy ever, okay, from getting onto porn on the internet. So they're building porn passports. That's the precursor to them tracking your phone to see how much porn you're watching, see how many busty giraffe videos you're watching.
I mean, are they gonna meter how much you can watch?
Well, that's the next step in it, isn't it?
I mean, that's a natural progression, sure. It's like and also labeling somebody. Oh man, that's a bad slippery slope.
Well, it's a sticky slope, technically.
It depends on how much water you drink. Um, drink Fiji water. There's silica in it. It'll make it slippery. Um,
Wow. We apologize. Well, at least I apologize for
I don't.
everything you just had to hear in the last couple of minutes.
But that's crazy. I really didn't know that they're setting up some sort of governing body to register people to watch porn.
Yep.
Like,
And if the porn site is not willing to comply with the porn passport, then you can't you can't show videos inside of that country. So you better hurry and get your porn passport before you head out to Croatia.
I'll be fine.
So you say.
I don't know. Is Croatia on the list?
I don't know. I just saw it in a headline. It didn't say which European countries. It just says European countries are looking towards it.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
not that's not a good precedent to set, but I
I'd be more worried not in the quantity that you watch, but the quality that you watch. Because really, if you become a porn aficionado, everybody starts off at just straight porn, and then they go to stepmother porn, and then they go to busty lesbian porn, and then they go to strap on porn, and then it's just downhill from there. Eventually, you're at little people, trucker, lesbian, clown, skateboard porn.
I running that what you just said through my head. That's not a thing. Uh,
Oh, but I guarantee you it either is or it will be after this episode.
yeah, because the porn kings are trolling or scrolling through our episodes for ideas on new porn genres.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we've got to get stuff on Urban Dictionary that's us. Throat Sweat did not work because none of you helped us get Throat Sweat on there, even though
I
it wasn't
think
porn related.
that could still happen though. That doesn't always have to be porn related to make it to Urban Dictionary.
Right. But we need to come up with some new names for porn to get onto Urban Dictionary to set ourselves out there as pornography experts at defining the genres.
I feel like squirt games could gain some traction or be like a series from porn.
I worry that we're already way too deep into the squirt games genre as it is. Oh, maybe
Oh,
that should be the kill scenes.
porn?
No, no, just they have to involve squirting, and I'm not just talking about female squirting. I'm talking about, that it has to be bloody scenes when they do.
Oh, okay. Not where I thought you were gonna go with that statement.
You should know better than to assume where I'm going to go with any statement. Let's just be
Uh,
perfectly honest with it. I did come in here as chocolate rain and start talking about tropical depressions coming out of my ass.
oh, I'm depressed now thinking about that again for like the fifth time you've brought that up.
Yes, well, we could
Um,
go back to donuts if you'd prefer.
no,
9 fucking blocks, Ryan.
it's good for you. Remember, conditioning.
Yes. So, I think the other thing that we have to talk about is some of the things that happened at our little conference, our mini conference that we had in Chicago this week.
Such
We talked about the Pringles maniac,
Oh, yeah, yeah, we talked about that already.
but he also happened to have dumped his coffee on you.
Oh, yeah, it was I was surprised. So, like, it was a hot coffee too, and thankfully missed my laptop, for the most part. I've never reacted in a more, like, sloth-like way towards somebody dumping coffee. I was like, "Oh, it's no problem."
The better part was though the time that he sat down right beside you, like it might have even been the next day, and just stared at you awkwardly,
Yeah. So
and then put that cup that had
Oh,
no
he
cap
was.
on it, and when it went to go throw it at you, and it had napkins in it.
Yeah, he definitely enjoys those kind of reprieves. Um,
But it was repetitive too. That joke, he did not want it to die whatsoever.
well, I think he was upset because I saw the napkins of him shoving him in there. So it's like I knew what was gonna happen. He wasn't discreet with it, but it was
Uh,
kinda it was endearing, to see the effort going into it because it was creative. I'll give him credit where it's due.
yeah, and then there was the long cut. which is the opposite of a shortcut.
Whoa.
So the building that is our head
Oh,
office in the
when
US,
it when it rained.
when it rained, it was raining. So he says, well, let's cut through the Sears Tower. It's a shortcut to get there. So we walk across the street, across the sidewalk, about halfway down the block, go into the Sears Tower, go all the way through, come out on the exact opposite side of the Sears Tower, and then cut back and end up like down the one end of a block from where we started.
Yeah, like, we
Literally,
we could
it,
have gone just out our door, taken a left, and then taken another left across the street, but instead we went in basically like a big triangle pattern and came back.
it wasn't even a triangle, it was a full square.
I say triangle because we kinda went halfway into and then we came back out.
And so here's the funniest part. There's enough overhangs down the road we could have walked in that we wouldn't have gotten wet. It wasn't raining that hard, but we walked as much distance to get into the Sears Tower as we would have walked walking down
Yeah, that's
that
true.
that road. Okay, and then we get to the other side of the Sears Tower, and it's not raining anymore.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. Wha
It's
and what's so funny is, like, none of us live in Chicago. He does.
yeah,
And I had to be like, "No, it's over here, I promise. I know
yes,
where you're wanting to go." Because he was
and then
remember when we came out, he was trying to take us to the right, and we needed to go left.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and then there was when we went to the ramen restaurant and he drove while we took an Uber because he had to get his car into a certain place and
Yep.
his car wasn't suitable for the 8-foot monster that was with us to sit in. So
Not far off
yeah.
height-wise.
Yeah, as a
Um,
Chevy Bolt and what, 6'8", something like that. There's
6'8", yeah,
there's
6'9",
no
something like
way
that.
he's fitting in that freaking car. So
No.
we took an Uber. So we see him walking in front of the restaurant and walking down the road,
Yeah.
like right past the restaurant. So I decide I'm going to be the nice guy, and I walk out of the restaurant and start yelling his name, and he's not hearing me
Oh, he had
whatsoever.
headphones in, yeah.
He had headphones in. So I realized there's a difference between being in shape for hockey and just having to run down the road. Because by the time I caught him, which he was only 3/4 of the way down the block, I was huffing and puffing. I just tapped him on the shoulder and said, go back the other way. Like I just mouthed it because he was on the phone. But I don't know if I would have been able to get the words out at that point, and it was only a half a block. So when you talk about the 9 blocks getting me in shape, in hockey, you burst and then you glide, and your weight just carries you. When you run or walk, you're constantly exerting energy, and that's the difference, and that's why you're a motherfucker.
I couldn't get out. There was no pathway for me to go to the right. You would have had to get out anyway from the boothy thing that we were in.
Yep. So, speaking of that, you not being involved in that part, we have to say that there is now a bunch of people in Chicago
Oh my
that
god, I
know
knew you
you
were gonna
by
talk
name,
about that. I
and
knew
I
you were
wanted
gonna
to leave it
fucking
to last
I
because
was trying to avoid this.
this is the best thing that I have ever managed to do. We went to a comedy club. It was small. There was probably what, about 20, 25 people in there,
Yeah,
roughly.
I would say right around there.
Okay. And about halfway through, they say, okay, we're going to give away some prizes. And one thing was a beer, whatever you're drinking, and another thing was a chant that you could lead everybody in. And the third thing was something that one of the comedians had brought from home that they didn't want anymore.
It was mints from Trader Joe's, the chai tea.
Yes. So they're they're really working this because nobody's playing along. They say, okay, who had a bad day today? They were obviously fishing for stuff. And this guy puts up his hand. Nobody else puts up their hand. And he couldn't even explain why it was a bad day except for the fact that he works for Amazon. So Amazon HR, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, that's
So
right.
they're trying to get so they're asking everybody else. They ask a couple more times, did anybody else have a bad day? And nobody's putting up their arm. So they say, well, did anybody have a good day today? And that was my chance. And I raised my hand. And they asked, okay, well, what happened? And I just said some stuff about what we were doing at work, and they asked what I did, and I said, I'm. I can't explain what we do in terms that anybody understands because it's true. Nobody understands what we do.
No.
And then they say, "Well, what's your degree in?" And I said, "Data analytics," because that is what my degree is in. So snooze fest there. And then I forget what exactly they said, but I said, "Yeah, I run a podcast with this guy." And so they asked what the name of the podcast was, and I said repressed humor issues, and they were looking for some sort of euphemism in that for something. And anyway, so they decide to move on because they've done enough. And then they come back to me and say, okay, well, what are you drinking? And I said, I'm here for the chant. All I said. Now, realize at this point, at one point when they're asking about the podcast, I referred to Ryan as Clown College Boy.
You're such a
And
dick.
she made the Iowa State comment and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
and I was like, "Hey, that was too close to home."
Yeah.
Like,
But so I say I'm here for the chant, and I win the chant. So we had 20 to 25 people in the Lincoln Lodge, free shout out again,
yep.
in Chicago, yelling at the top of their lungs, Clown College Boy, while Ryan, in the darkness that is this comedy theater, is just red lighting the entire room, trying to hide it with his hand.
Yeah, yeah, I was because and that's actually how they brought on the next comic was while they're chanting "Clown College Boy."
Yes.
It's just like Jesus, man, this is so fucked. But like so lesson learned: don't take Dan anywhere.
Yeah, don't let me raise my hand. Just
Oh,
put put force my hand down, don't let me talk
I,
because
I mean, I
I
will say they put on a good show though. Like that for $10, that was a great deal.
yeah, yeah, I didn't go in there expecting that to happen.
I
I
didn't either.
came
I
out
mean,
of there
I saw or they advertised prizes at the front, and I was like, "Prizes at a comedy show or whatever," you know?
yeah, but I did not go in there planning on attempting to embarrass Ryan. It was not the goal. I just went in there expecting to listen to some comics. The guy that said that he likes fat women because their pussy tastes like Cinnabon, he
That
was
was
just
so good.
hilarious.
The other funny thing was when they gave away the beer, she was like, "It has to be, at or below PBR level prices."
Yes.
It's like, you have
So you get
nothing
a
else on your
PBR. That's what
that's
you get.
literally all you have.
What's below that? Schlitz?
I no, I didn't even see that on the menu. I mean, I glanced at it, but
I'm just saying that's what's below PBR is Schlitz.
I don't know.
That's it.
That might be above PBR. I don't know where they fall in line anymore.
Yeah, Schlitz is basically meant to be the cheapest possible beer that you can get.
Now, I'm going to shift gears for a second. I know we're coming up on our duration here, but I have a poll going on Instagram right now on my personal account. I'm curious what your have you seen it already?
No, I don't look at Instagram. You should
Well,
read it.
it's on Facebook as well, but because I post to both. It's how many chuggas before you say choo choo?
4.
You think it okay, you think it's
Chugga,
4.
chugga, 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 choo, choo.
I think it's 2 sets of 3.
Chugga, 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 chugga. No,
Mhm.
you're wrong.
But then I have 4
No,
options.
Ryan, just stop. You're wrong.
I
Don't
have 4
prove how much more
no, no, no.
wrong you are.
This has been the most polarizing question. I have the options are 2, 4, 6, or 8. And right now, 4 is winning,
Because it's the right answer.
but 8 is second.
Okay.
8, that's way too many chuggas.
All I care is that 6 isn't winning.
It it might
I'm going to Facebook right now to vote for so you can't win.
I oh, so okay, current is oh, 2 came up. 2 is at 28%, 4 is at 41%, 6 is 14%, 8 is 17%. Damn it. gonna get
and it's in your
outvoted on that.
stories.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How do I vote in your story?
Oh, maybe you can't vote on Facebook since it's an Instagram poll.
Yeah. Jeez. Learn to live in the now. Do it on Facebook, not Instagram.
This is the most anti-now statement you could have
Now,
made.
I don't even know if I still have Instagram installed, but I'm gonna go install it just so I can vote and then comment about how stupid saying 6 is.
It's now you have to admit 8 is insanity.
I don't know because that's just chugga 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 choo choo. I could see somebody getting there. 6, I can't see anybody getting there.
Why, it's 2 sets of 3.
Yeah, 2 sets of 3. Nobody says chugga chugga chugga.
Chugga, 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 choo, choo. I think I'm right.
I
Sit
think you're absolutely wrong, and people are proving it.
You gotta spend more time with it. People haven't thought this one through enough.
Okay, so if it is this polarizing, if you're listening right now, I am going to go set up a poll that is going to say, have you ever said 6 chugga chugga chuggas
No,
before
put
you
the
got
poll out
to
there.
choo choo? And and if so, how stupid is it that somebody would say 6?
Put the poll out there how I have it to the masses and let the masses weigh in.
No, I'm going to ask how stupid it is because I already know the right answer is
It
4.
you can't that's simply an opinion. You gotta open
It's
it
the
up.
right opinion. It's not
It
an opinion when it is fact.
you
Let's
gotta
see.
give
Google,
it a
help me
chance.
out here. How
Yeah, Google's
many
not gonna help you. There's no fucking way.
chugga chuggas before choo choo? Somebody's asked this.
Oh, really?
4 chuggas, followed by a pair of elongated choo choos. It's definitely 4 chuggas, and that's AI telling me that. You are wrong.
No,
You are
what
so
is
wrong.
what you gotta look at some of the results. That no, hold on. What AI are you using?
It's the AI from Google. It's obviously Bard. I didn't type it into AI. It's in the search results.
Oh, here, I'm gonna look at Bing.
I can't
Uh,
believe we're doing this right now. I'm going to have toy train ads for the next 6 weeks because of this bullshit.
Bing says it's 2.
Okay? 2 to 4 makes sense. 4 to 8 makes sense. 4 to 6 does not make sense.
This is a debate for the
Thanks for
ages.
asking me to answer. As any red blooded American should know, it's definitely 4 chuggas followed by a pair of elongated choo choos.
No.
However, in the interest of fostering multinational respect and tolerance for all those dang foreigners from other countries, including the commies, we acknowledge the possibility of commie trains having some weird metric number of chuggas and choo-choos, which makes no sense to ordinary people and may not even be understandable as proper chuggas and chews, but due to the train's funny accents. That's
That's
the response
that's a
in Quora.
fantastic. Here's somebody saying 32. How much wind up do you need for your fucking train to have a choo choo? Jesus.
But here's the thing 32 is divisible by 2. It's divisible by 4. It's divisible by 8. It's not divisible by 6.
Look, if you have to do 32 chuggas, grandma, the cows, and the sheep on the railway, they're all dead. They've been hit. They don't know that train's coming.
That's what you're worried about?
No.
They, you know what the thing on the front of a train that's sloped is called, right? That little
The
ramp thing?
the cattle guard?
It's not a cattle guard, it's a cow catcher. That's what it's called. It's a cow catcher. It's not meant to save the cow. It's meant to toss it to the side so it doesn't get run over.
I did just watch, I don't know why Instagram sometimes surfaces like animal injury videos.
Oh
One of the,
god. I saw a video on TikTok where this deer runs across the street and the people are saying, please don't let it get hit. Don't let it get hit. It makes it across the street, runs smack onto a wall on the side of the house, then runs back across all 8 lanes of traffic again.
I mine was so graphic. It was like a herd of sheep grazing, and this one was halfway on the rail track and just obliterated.
But this one was so stressful because you see the deer make it and you think, "Oh, great, it make it." You see it hit the wall and you think, "Oh, it's hurt." You see it get back up and it starts running again and you think, "Oh, it's okay." Then it runs back across all of those lanes of traffic, then like two other roads before they lose it. And it's like, it's so stressful because you just want the deer to make it. I've never thought I wanted deer to survive as much as I did on that TikTok video, and the outcome was predetermined. I just did not know the outcome, but it was so stressful watching it.
The thing I'm gonna say about this poll that has become hilarious are all the people admitting how many times they had to do this out loud for each option before they chose.
You call that funny. I call that mental disorder.
I love how many people have participated in this already.
And I have Instagram. I'm participating in ways that you don't want me to.
Uh, I mean, just because you're going against my vote, but I've already had this. You'll be vote number 30 if you vote.
Okay, but I'm also, can I comment on Instagram?
Yeah, but it'll only go to me directly, not to the larger audience.
Damn it. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put up the poll. It'll be on repressedhumorissues.com. It'll be up there by the time you guys get this. And it will ask this very question, and you guys will be able to vote on it. I'll find a way to be able to put voting up on it because I just have to get Ryan proved wrong. I mean, this is why he failed clown college, is he always wanted to count to 6 when everybody wanted him to count to 2, 4, or 8.
Look, I'm an odd person. What can I say?
But 6 is even.
I want it divisible by 3.
That's not helping your cause. Okay, Ryan, get us out of this hellhole we're in. I think we've beaten this to death.
I don't know. Well, I didn't even get to finish my water talk, so we'll have to come back to that another time.
Just finish your water talk real quick then. Are you happy?
Nah, no,
Uh, Moments
no,
passed.
it's past. But no, thank you all for joining us for another unhinged episode, not issue, of Repressed Humor Issues. As usual, you can find us on all the different social media streaming platforms, repressedhumorissues.com, or email us at repressedhumorissues@gmail.com.
Or
And
clowncollegeboy@gmail.com.
avoid that one. Uh, I'm Ryan.
I'm Dan.
And thank you very much for joining us on this fine, fine day. And brought you into a Delta lounge.
That was interesting, but that's the first time that I think I saw God.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
I mean, that woman comes up to me and I'm thinking, oh, she's going to deny me entry into heaven. She's not going to let me in because I don't have that. And I didn't know you were using the pass at that point. So I just thought, I'm being denied here. She's going to see my ticket and that's going to be it. This is as far into it as I'm ever going to get. My life is over. I might as well just go throw myself on the tarmac at this exact moment.
Nope.
And then she just walks away.
Yep.
And you said, "Yeah, you're good." And it's like, why am I good? I don't belong here. You saw the startled look on my face
Yeah.
that all of a
Yeah.
sudden I'm here and they're not asking me to leave. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, welcome to a new experience.